Hello, this is a video for the nerds. This video is to confirm that the input buffer works for frame traps as well. So we know that input buffers work when you're the one getting hit. Right here, Sub-Zero is getting hit and he can buffer his inputs. We know that because it would be impossible to punish a -8 move with a standing one that's 7 frames, yet people do it regularly because they buffer their inputs. I was always under the impression that you could not buffer your inputs when you press something on block and you press it again. You know, you're the presser, you're the attacker, that you'd have to be frame perfect. Just from personal experience, it felt different than buffering your input from block, right? Which makes frame traps difficult, because if that was the case, you would have to be frame perfect with Kano to enforce his +2 after his forward 1 to get that, you know, that 5 frame down 1. But it's actually not the case. You can buffer your inputs, and I can prove it to you now. And it makes sense because you can buffer your dashes as well from hits. When you're hitting someone, you can buffer your dash and then you move forward on reversal. But you can do that for attacks too, apparently. I don't know what the exact frames are, the frame window. I don't know if it's the same as on block. I would be actually surprised because it feels tight when you do frame traps and you press on reversal compared to on block, but it's possible. So I've calculated this in Premiere Pro, and the way I've done it is that I've broken down the frames. So okay, let's look it down. So he hits, boom, he touches on frame 30 right here, touches on frame 13, I mean, and then he has the recovery, right? And that's his whole recovery right here. He recovers, and then he's back, and then boom, he touches. That was the 20 frames, and then he recovers. His recovery is right here, and then again, boom, he touches. 24 frames, all right. And then he recovers. In the recovery, you don't see the frames, it's hidden. And I've calculated frame by frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many recovery was. And it's 30 recovery that I've calculated. It's probably 30 or 31, most likely 30. And then he starts jumping on frame 31. So I know that it's 30 recovery because I counted it, and I see that the jump, it's the jump test on frame 31. It takes 1 frame to activate this first thing. You see, it's 1 frame. So 31 is when he jumps. Okay. Fine. So now I'm looking at this whole thing again. Yep, here you go. Recovery frame at 30, fine. And then he starts crouching at 31, which confirms to me that the recovery frame was at frame 30. Okay, perfect. There we go. So we know that this is accurate because we've tested it. Now we're doing it again. Boom, we know it's recovery 30. But do you see here? I pressed. So let's go back. Go, and then he's like in recovery state. Boom, I press. Look very carefully here. I press down 1. What happens? I press on frame 29 before he recovered. Boom, he recovers 1 frame after I press. So if there was no buffer, nothing would come out here. But there's a buffer because I pressed before the recovery, which is on recovery 30. And then you see, he starts crouching and he slices. Boom. So that's that. That's the proof. You can buffer your inputs for frame traps. That's it. Peace.